Cave systems offer the ultimate test of human courage, passages that lead to chambers no surface dweller has ever seen. But in the depths, courage becomes irrelevant when the Earth decides to collect its toll with methodical cruelty. Underground rescue statistics show that cave deaths have the longest average duration of any outdoor fatality, with victims often surviving for days in conditions that slowly destroy both body and mind. Medical examiners report that cave victims frequently die with full awareness of their fate, unable to prevent the inevitable. From a group of cavers who spent their final hours listening to floodwater rise in passages so narrow they couldn't lift their heads, knowing escape was impossible, to a medical student whose 27-hour ordeal upside down became so hopeless that authorities sealed the entire cave system rather than continue watching him die, to expert divers whose recovery mission became a secret operation when officials abandoned their friends' bodies in underwater darkness. But first, the explorer whose last moments became a masterclass in how geological indifference can transform adventure into extended torture. This wasn't an act of nature, it was a lesson in how the underground can turn exploration into prolonged execution. The rolling hills of south-central Kentucky held no warning of tragedy on that cold winter morning of January 30th, 1925. Floyd Collins, a legendary cave explorer and entrepreneur, set out towards Sand Cave with commercial ambitions. Collins owned Crystal Cave and was desperate to find a connection that would boost his failing business against the competition of nearby Mammoth Cave. What made Collins unique wasn't just his experience, but his unwavering belief that his reputation made him invulnerable to serious accidents. This confidence led him to a fateful decision: exploring a particularly narrow, unstable crawlway alone. He ignored obvious signs of loose ceiling and shifting sand, pushing deeper than safety recommended in pursuit of commercial discovery. 55 feet underground, disaster struck without warning. A 27-pound limestone slab broke free from the unstable ceiling, pinning Collins's left leg in the narrow passage. His initial escape attempts only wedged him deeper. For hours, his voice echoed through the narrow crawlway as he called desperately for help. The moment of realization must have been crushing. He couldn't move forward or backward. Rescue would require massive external effort. What he couldn't know was that his predicament would become America's first true media circus, a 14-day public ordeal that would transform his suffering into entertainment. Thousands of tourists, reporters, and vendors flocked to the site. Hot dog stands and souvenir sellers created a carnival atmosphere above the dying man. The National Guard was eventually called to control crowds that gathered to witness his slow demise. Reporter William Skeets Miller even won a Pulitzer Prize for interviewing the dying Collins. A parallel rescue shaft was dug in desperate attempts to reach him, but a cave-in severed contact. Collins ultimately died of exposure and starvation days before the rescue completion. In a final indignity, his body was later displayed in a glass coffin for paying tourists. Collins's death revealed humanity's fascination with prolonged suffering. His experience showed that sometimes the surface world is more brutal than underground dangers. November 24th, 2009, during Thanksgiving week in Utah's Wasatch Mountains. Nutty Putty Cave, a popular family destination with narrow passages, claimed the life of John Edward Jones, a 26-year-old medical student and experienced caver. Jones had explored caves since childhood and was familiar with Nutty Putty. As a medical student, he understood human physiology and cardiac stress. A married father planning a family caving trip with his brothers, he was confident in his abilities and trusted his knowledge of the cave layout. His fatal mistake was mistaking an unmapped fissure for the familiar birth canal passage. He crawled headfirst into a space merely 10 inches wide and 18 inches tall. He continued forward despite the passage narrowing beyond safe limits, believing he could always reverse direction if needed. The situation escalated rapidly as Jones became wedged upside down at a 70-degree angle, 125 feet underground. His arms were pinned against his sides, completely immobilizing him. Blood began pooling in his head due to the inverted position. His heart worked against gravity with each beat, creating compartment syndrome. The most horrifying aspect of Jones's predicament was his medical knowledge. He understood exactly how his body was failing, how time was working against his cardiovascular system, and how gravity was becoming his executioner with each passing hour. For 27 hours, over 100 rescuers worked to save him. A complex pulley system briefly freed him. He even spoke to his wife via radio. But then disaster struck again. The pulley anchor failed in the soft clay rock, dropping him back deeper into the crevice. Susie Matola, the first rescuer to reach him, was forced to watch him die of cardiac arrest from prolonged inversion and fluid accumulation. Authorities made the grim decision to permanently seal the cave with concrete, leaving Jones's body inside. His death showed that medical knowledge can't overcome physics. Sometimes rescue creates false hope before inevitable failure. The cave became his permanent tomb, sealed by human decision. June 24, 1967, in Yorkshire Dales during seemingly perfect weather. Mossdale Caverns, a notoriously difficult sporting cave system, became the site of Britain's deadliest caving disaster. 6 experienced cavers, Dave Adamson, Jeff Boireau, Bill Frakes, John Ogden, Michael Ryan and Colin Vickers, entered the system under clear skies that hid an approaching meteorological disaster. All 6 were skilled and familiar with challenging systems. Mossdale was known for technical difficulty and flood risk, but the weather appeared perfect for underground adventure. Their fatal decision was entering a flood-prone system despite unpredictable weather patterns. They pushed deep into narrow crawlways during a meteorologically unstable period, ignoring environmental signs of changing surface conditions. They trusted experience over cave hydrology and weather awareness. Without warning, a sudden torrential rainstorm struck the Yorkshire moors above. The cave system acted as a drain for the entire moor, funneling water into passages with unstoppable hydraulic force. The 6 men found themselves trapped in crawlways too narrow to turn around. Imagine their final moments, the realization that water was rising faster than escape was possible, trapped in passages so tight they couldn't lift their heads, understanding that drowning was inevitable with no escape route. Their final moments spent listening to water approach in absolute darkness. The aftermath was grim. Jim Eyre led the recovery mission, extracting bodies that weren't simply drowned, but buried under debris in tight spaces. It took days to pump water out just to locate remains. The disaster led to permanent changes in UK cave weather safety protocols, and the site became a memorial to the dangers of flood-prone systems. The 6 learned too late that surface weather controls underground fate. Sometimes death comes not from drowning, but from geological burial. Experience means nothing when nature decides to reclaim its spaces. 3 cave systems, 3 demonstrations of how the Earth can transform exploration into extended torture. From the Kentucky explorer who became a 14-day media spectacle while dying in darkness, to the medical student whose heart finally stopped after 27 hours of fighting gravity, to the 6 cavers who listened as floodwaters rose in passages too narrow to turn around. These stories share a common thread. The underground doesn't kill quickly. The warning signs are not suggestions. The safety protocols are not guidelines. They are the difference between adventure and agony. So the next time you see a cave entrance, remember these stories. Remember Floyd Collins, who died while thousands watched and vendors sold hot dogs. Remember John Jones, whose tomb is made of concrete and limestone. Remember the Mossdale 6, who drowned in passages too narrow to lift their heads. Caves don't just kill explorers, they torture them first, with geological patience and stone-cold precision. Every passage is a potential execution chamber, and the Earth keeps detailed records of every mistake, every wrong turn, every moment of overconfidence. The last moments of these cavers became lessons carved in stone about what happens when human ambition meets geological indifference. Their deaths weren't quick, they weren't merciful. They were extended demonstrations of how the underground can turn curiosity into prolonged execution. Which of these final moments did you find the most haunting? Let us know in the comments below. And if you appreciate our deep dives into these underground tragedies, make sure to like this video and subscribe to Final Moments. Until next time, stay on the surface.